For me, it's been, I think, a 5-year journey with Paddington since they first called me and asked me if I was interested in writing it, which is a ridiculous question because who wouldn't be? We had our last night at the theatre before opening night where we had to freeze the show, so we couldn't make any more changes. And it was also the last night when all of the creatives were going to be in the theatre all together for the last time probably. And it just felt like the end of this kind of massive journey. And also this was before we'd had any of the reviews, which have just been amazing as well. So it just felt like we all just took a moment and enjoyed the show because we're so proud of it, not because of what anyone else thinks of it, but because we love it. And it's been, all we've thought about for years and years and years of our lives.
So this is you watching the complete stage show just to sort of check before you go.
It's been because we've had a month of previews. So whenever we watch the previews, after that we would sit in the stalls. The show would be done, the audience would leave, and we would all sit in the stalls and go through notes, all the technical notes, and discuss like the changes that would need to be implemented for the next show. So it was the last time we could do any of that, and then there's no changes. It's just that is the show for now.
And what was your reaction when you first sat through the show, saw the cast performing the songs that you'd written? How was that?
I mean, I am an emotional wreck every time I watch the show. And not just now, this was months ago, years ago when we were just doing workshops around the table. It just really gets me emotionally. And on so many levels, I think Jess Swale, who's written the book, her story is amazing. Luke Shepherd, his vision for the show is so powerful. And then all of the arrangement that Matt Brind has done to my songs is incredible. And hearing my songs played like that is amazing. And then when you add into that the amazing performances of the cast, and then the choreography, and then the stage, like every stage of this, I've just been like an emotional wreck for 5 years of my life. Yeah, so it's really powerful. And as a writer, as a songwriter, it's very different actually to the band. When you're the artist and performing it, you never get to experience it as the audience. Whereas this, I get to just sit with everyone or stand at the back of the theatre and watch other people watch it and watch other people enjoy it. And that's really, I've never really had that before. It's really special.
You mentioned the reviews, and just in case you missed some of them, The Guardian, Tom Fletcher's songs are marvellous. The Standard, the most wonderful theatrical creation in years. The Radio Times, London needs this musical now more than ever. I mean, these are not just okay, these are amazing.
Yeah, I'm not very good at compliments, by the way. Like, I don't, like, they're really nice, but I don't know how to react to nice things being said.
I mean, but that last one, let's just dissect that last one. What does that mean to you? The Radio Times, London needs this musical now more than ever.
It's quite surreal, because I feel like that's what we all feel as well. Like, when you're making something, you have to go into it feeling like you're making something that needs to be said, especially with something like Paddington, where there's been so many versions of Paddington, the amazing films, the TV show, obviously Michael Bond's amazing books. What is the reason for us doing it again? Why are we telling this story again? And so I feel like, well, we had to find, a reason to tell this story, not just, because it's being done through music this time. What is the message of the show? And every year that's gone on, it felt like, wow, this feels like this year, this show really means more than it did a year ago. And then like a year after that, be like, wow, this feels more important now, more relevant now than ever before. And every year that's gone on, we felt like the show has become more relevant and important, and I can feel that in the audience.
We're going to be talking more about Paddington the Musical, because over the next hour I'd like to go on an almost chronological journey from where your interest in music was sparked for the very first time, and what that journey has been like that has brought you to right here, right now. So to begin at the start, I'm right in thinking, despite both your parents working jobs during the day, they were both creative outside those jobs, weren't they?
Yeah, they're both really creative. So my dad was in bands. So when I was really young, when I was like 4 or 5, he used to play at like pubs and like the kind of places where they'd pause halfway through the band set to do the bingo, like that kind of place.
Got you.
So my whole memory and like my earliest memories are like falling asleep on the back of the pub while my dad is playing, and he used to get me up to sing with him with his band. So that was like my earliest kind of introduction to music. But he also he worked at a factory. He worked for Kodak. So he was working like 12-hour shifts, quite a full-on, stressful job that was definitely not creative. And the band, I guess, was his release from that. I guess my love of musical theatre really came from my mum. she's really creative as well. Worked at a school, and so I'm a kind of a real blend of the two of them, I think.
Your dad working a 12-hour shift at a factory and then also going out to play music. That's a kind of almost need to do that after a shift like that, to go, I have to go and play music.
Yeah, I guess so. And I think what's really interesting is I feel like I've been so lucky that my parents gave me and my sister, who's an actress in the West End, they gave us everything, like really nurtured our interest in music and singing and performing, and maybe in a way that they didn't have when they were kids. And it'd be really interesting to know like what their life would have been like had they had the same opportunities that me and my sister had. And I think it's interesting as well, like I'm now a dad of 3, and particularly my eldest, he's shown real interest in musicals, so I'm now the one driving him to he was in Starlight Express this year, so I was writing the end of Paddington the Musical was all written in the car park at the retail park outside Starlight Express. So I'd drop him off, then spend like 4 hours in the car writing the lyrics to Paddington.
And people say this industry isn't glamorous, right? Paddington the Musical in a retail car park.
Yeah, in the car park outside JD Sports and McDonald's.
When you were on stage, when your dad got you on stage to perform alongside him, I mean, you were only 3 or 4, maybe too young for that to be considered the spark, the blue touch paper that made you want to perform yourself, or was there a connection?
I don't know if there was like a real moment when it happened. I mean, when we were really young, we'd go and see like Button Moon at the Beck Theatre in Hayes and I don't know, Rainbow Live and those kind of shows. And then as I was a bit older, we went to see Joseph at the Palladium, and it was the first time I saw kids in a big West End production. And so I think I was 8 when I saw it, and I remember thinking, I want to do that. I want to be one of those kids. And within a year of that, was it maybe a year, or within 2 years, I was at Sylvia Young playing Oliver at the Palladium, at the same theatre that I saw Joseph in. So like that was a massive kind of drive. And I think I was quite headstrong as a kid in telling my parents like, this is what I want to do. Like, and I didn't really, I was at an ordinary school, and I was into science fiction and musical theatre. I was a bit of a nerdy, like, outsider kid.
I love it. What a combo.
Yeah, there wasn't like a lot of kids who were running around pretending they were Marty McFly and singing, I don't know, Les Mis at the same time. So yeah, I didn't quite fit in until I went to theatre school, and I was like, I found my people.
That's interesting. So, I mean, we're talking like, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is for someone who wants to follow a path in this industry to have that realization at such a young age and be able to focus and direct themselves into that arena?
Oh, like massively. I think I would have just been lost. I wasn't very academic. I was terrible at sport. My thing was singing and dancing, and if it wasn't for my mum and dad finding the stagecoach on a Saturday at the school, and then the teacher there saying, I run a workshop at Ravenscourt Theatre School in the summer, she'd come there, and then the head teacher offered me a place at that school, and then I met some kids from Sylvia. Like, it was all this kind of stepping stone, and my parents just kind of following me along and helping me on that journey. My life would be completely different if I hadn't have had that support and encouragement.
And there was one thing that happened to you, which I don't know whether you describe it as your lucky break, because, you were already driven, you were already making your own way in the industry, but you entered a competition on Capital FM.
I did, yeah.
First of all, what was the competition and what made you enter?
You've done your research, haven't you? So I entered a competition to go to Lapland with Capital Radio with Chris Tarrant and the Breakfast Crew. And
already amazing.
Yeah, it was, and I think you had to draw. I remember drawing a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog. I think it was, and I won the competition to go to Lapland with Chris Tarrant and the Breakfast Team. It was like me and 5 other kids, I think, went and spent like 4 days without my mum and dad. My sister had just been born, I think, as well. I think it was my sister's first Christmas. So I must have been 7.
Wow.
And went over to Lapland, and I was a bit like my sister. I used to sing constantly, and I think I was always singing on the trip when we were over there, probably annoying the hell out of everyone. And Chris asked me to sing on the radio. So that was the first time I'd ever sang in like a public place. So that was a big Yeah, big moment for me.
Was it a big moment? Sort of like, because, singing and, and being on stage and theatre school and all these classes and all of this is one thing. But then being in an environment like that, sort of seeing the inner workings of a radio studio, the red light going on, the whole...
Yeah, definitely.
The whole shebang. It's like, oh, I'm sort of behind the curtain.
Yeah, I think they made it feel really special. There was definitely a sense of like the whole country's listening to this. And I knew, I was with these famous people on the radio show that my parents listened to on the radio, and so it definitely felt like that was a big deal. Yeah, I'd actually totally forgotten about that.
You mentioned Sylvia Young Theatre School that you attended. I love this. You described it as a wannabe wizard getting into Hogwarts.
Yeah.
To carry on that analogy, it does sound like a magical time in your life. You're doing something that you loved. You met Giovanna, the person who would become your future wife. How do you remember that time, though?
It was the most amazing place to grow up and go to school. Sylvia Young, I mean, she changed so many people's lives. Again, it was another person who just fully supported all of your any thing you wanted to do, any bit of talent that she saw in you. She would just fully support you along that journey.
And you go from watching Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat and seeing kids on stage and going, I want to do that, to being cast as Oliver in Oliver.
It was literally a dream come true. It was all I thought about. I was obsessed about being in that show. It was like, for kids, I guess, like what Matilda is now. If you're a kid wanting to be in a musical, that's the show you want to be in. And I don't know really how I feel about the idea of like manifesting things, but that's what it felt like. I just felt like it was going to happen. Like, I was just so set on it happening. I would have been so devastated if I didn't get it. But I think it's been similar. I felt that way about other things in my life. One example of it, which didn't end up happening, was Busted, which I guess we'll come on to that in a bit. But like auditioning for Busted, and I was just certain that was going to happen, and it was the right thing at the right time for me in my life. Turned out it kind of was, but just in a weird, different way.
As you said, you were in Busted for one hot minute before I believe they decided they wanted it to be a 3-piece, and so you were out before you'd ever really been in.
Yeah.
How much of a knock was it when you were like told, no, you're just going to be writing songs for the band?
Oh, it wasn't even that at the beginning.
Oh.
It was just, so I got told I was in the band. So we've gone through like an audition process. It was me and Charlie had been to the same audition, and they were looking for 2 people to make it a 4-piece. Got told we were in after like, a few days of recalls and things. I'd been to the studio as like, this is the band now, met the producer, listened to what I go to school for in year 3000, sang vocals on year 3000, like recorded on the song. And then I told all of my family I'm in this band, and was like in my head thinking, I'm dropping out of college. I'm going to go and be in this band. I don't have to go to college anymore. This is great. And then my sister had a Halloween party and all the family were over, and it was also a bit like a double celebration, like for me getting in the band. And the phone rang, and it was Busted's manager, and he was just so brutal and quick. It's like, so we've decided just to keep it as a 3-piece. He's American, by the way, so I'm a terrible American accent. Yeah, it's just like, we're going to keep it as a 3-piece, and you're no longer required. I was like, what? What? I mean, it was so devastating. It was really heartbreaking. I was properly broken. But I think up to that point, I didn't really know I wanted to be in a band. Being in a band wasn't really something that was on my radar of something I desperately wanted to do. I honestly thought that I thought I would end up doing something to do with musical theatre. And then after leaving Sylvia Young, which she finished at 16, I kind of felt like actually I'd missed out on just a normal childhood and wanted to go just hang out with some friends. So I went to my local college, which was like day one, like massive mistake. Again, I was surrounded by kids, like no one liked musicals, no one like sang. The music course that I'd applied for didn't have enough interest, it had been cancelled, so there was no music course. Wow. And then the Busted audition came along, and it was like, this is my out, this is the light at the end of this tunnel. Got it, and then got it taken away. But having it for a second made me realise that's what I want to do. And I'd already started writing a few songs by that point. As part of the audition process was sharing songs that you've been writing. And after they said I'm not in the band anymore, the management said, but we really like your songs and we want to help you out, and we will absolutely support you and give you advice. Come and play us your songs in a month when I get back from LA. And I kind of thought, I'm never going to hear from them again. This is just like, let me down easily. And then in a month later, he called me and was like, all right, I'm back. Come play me your songs. And I was like, shit, I haven't written any songs. You've heard all of my songs. I've only written like 3. So I quickly wrote some songs and went in and played them, and they said they were terrible. But they then sent me away and said, come back in like a week and play us another one. And I did that, and then that was the kind of start of that journey.
You can write a song. I don't know whether you remember. I mean, I interviewed you as part of McFly numerous times for MTV and then Pop World back in the
good old days.
The heady noughties.
Yeah.
The heady noughties. And one of those was, you might not remember, in the upstairs room of a pub in Ladbroke Grove.
Yeah.
And the mission for Pop World was, we're going to write a song in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And I remember just being staggered at the fact that you could write a song in an afternoon over
Probably
the course.
Wasn't a very good one.
I remember thinking, this is amazing. This is pretty good. And when it comes to being able to write #1 singles, of which you have many to your name, either as writer or co-writer, both for McFly and other artists, where did that ability come from? And by that, I mean, is it an innate skill, or is it something you can learn that someone else could just learn?
I think, I wish I knew the answer to that. I think it's something that I've definitely, you can learn it, I think, for sure. And yeah, I mean, and the more you do, the easier it becomes and the better you get at it. I think, I grew up loving music, so I guess you have a certain amount of my ability to write a song just came from, well, I know I can already play. I didn't just start at 16 and be like, I think I'll be a songwriter and have to learn it. Like, I grew up loving songs and loving pop music especially. So I guess that a lot of it was just kind of naturally in me. I understood how songs were structured and worked and what a hook was and what, and why some lyrics were, more appealing than others. But then, it took a lot of practice and writing a lot of terrible songs and having people say, that's not a very good song, and like, go away and write a better one. So really, I was like, oh, well, that just kind of evolved into me writing songs and maybe starting a band of my own.
So you're growing as a musician, but it was actually an audition for another band that introduced you to Danny and was the beginnings of McFly.
Yes.
You were both at an audition for the boy band V?
Well, yeah, so it was like a year after my busted audition. So I'd been writing songs, was staying up all night to go and write with James. I was doing college in the day and then writing with James literally until the sun came up. And I just started not going to college because I was so short. I was like, I don't want to do the stuff I'm doing there. I want to write songs. That's going to be my thing. So I dropped out of college. Meanwhile, Busted's management and Universal were going to put together a new boy band, like a traditional 90s kind of boy band. And we're holding auditions around the country. So our manager, or Busted's management, said to me, well, can you come and film the auditions and take the Polaroids and staple them to their leaflets and, kind of be the runner for the auditions.
Okay,
and
so you weren't auditioning yourself?
No, I was just part of like I was literally standing out, taking pictures of the people coming into audition.
Oh, wow.
And stapling their Polaroids to their forms and then filming the auditions. Just so they paid me a bit of money so I could live and survive. But also it was like, oh, this is the guys, it's like the A&R guys and the people from Universal that are here. It's maybe, I was also thinking, this is quite good people to know for when I then go and show them my songs. And then we were in Manchester and this person walks into the audition who clearly had stumbled into the wrong audition. I mean, everyone in there looked like Justin Timberlake, and were amazing dancers and were singing like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And then this kid called Danny Jones walks in with a guitar, which he got told to put at the back of the room because he didn't need it. Looked like a young Liam Gallagher. And then he didn't know any pop songs. I think he sang Bittersweet Symphony, first of all. And then someone from the label asked if he knew like a Backstreet Boys song. And he was just like, no, like never heard of the Backstreet Boys. And so our management were like, oh, why didn't you go and teach him a quick a chorus of a Backstreet Boys song and then get him to come back in, because they thought he was really good but he just maybe wasn't quite right and wanted to give him a fair chance. So I went out into the stairwell with him. I was like, hi, I'm Tom. He was like, hi, I'm Danny. And I taught him I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys just so he could sing a chorus. And that's the first time me and Danny met. And then everyone loved him in the audition and I was secretly going, please don't put him in this band because he's so wrong for this band. And I really like we just clicked straight away.
So even in that moment, in that brief meeting, you were like, oh, there's something here. There's a writing partnership here.
Well, I was looking for someone to be in a band with. I was like, I'm writing all these songs. I don't really know what I'm doing. It'd be great if I could have a bandmate. And also, I didn't know how to put a band together. My only experience of putting a band together was the Busted audition. So I didn't know any other guitarists or drummers or bass players. So seeing him was like, oh, I think me and you could do something. And so I invited him down to London to come in. He's from Bolton. I invited him down to come stay with my family. And that was it. And then we've just been in each other's lives for 23, 24 years now. And he had a choice. The Universal wanted to put him in that band in V. And they gave him a choice. Do you want to be in V? It's a record deal there, ready to sign. Or do you want to go and hang out with Tom in South Harrow and sleep in his spare room and write some songs and see what happens? And thankfully, he chose to come and hang out with me.
So together, you and Danny, you're penning McFly's debut album, Room on the Third Floor. As you're writing that, where is your head at? Are you writing going, we've got a hit on our hands here, this is going to be a success, I can feel it?
No, because I don't think either of us knew what a hit was. Like no one, and also we weren't writing songs that sounded like anything else. Like it wasn't like you could say, if you were in the 90s and you were writing songs that sounded like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and those kind of hits, you might think, oh, I'm onto something here. But nothing else really sounded like Five Colours in Her Hair. And they were just pretty weird songs that we found. The truth is, I think we found them quite funny. So we would write them going, do, 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 do. And we would be laughing at ourselves, thinking, this is ridiculous. But just full of joy and fun. I think that's all that we really cared about. Was, oh, this is a fun song to sing. Let's go play this to the Busted guys and see what they think of that, and go play it to our manager. And everyone was kind of like, oh, that's, everyone thought they were good songs. But no, I don't think we were ever thinking that they were hits.
Hits they were, though. Room on the Third Floor broke the Guinness World Record for the youngest band to have an album debut at #1 in the UK. Record previously held by a little four-piece called the Beatles. It would go on to become double platinum. The first two singles, Five Colours in Her Hair, and obviously both went to #1. I mean, this is the stuff of dreams. Yeah,
it was crazy. It was mad. We'd seen Busted release their first album single and start having success. So there was a little bit of, I guess, I felt like there was a bit of an expectation that we were expected to do that from the label and the management. It was the first time where I kind of, in my kind of journey of McFly over that period, of suddenly feeling like, oh, well, what if it doesn't go like everyone is saying it's going to go? Because it is completely unpredictable. Like you have no idea if your song's going to connect, and also it was new territory. Like, I didn't know. I had no experience in releasing songs, and I didn't even know what a producer was. I remember when they were started talking about, oh, who do you think should produce your album? Me being like, oh, I don't really know. Like literally had no idea what a producer was. I remember feeling absolutely terrified when we were coming up to the release of the song. It was terrifying but really exciting. I remember our manager knocking on the door. We had a McFly house.
I think I visited the McFly
Did you come
house.
there?
Yeah, did you have like a little skate park in the back garden? I remember sitting out back in North London somewhere.
Yes, we had the one with the skate ramp in the garden was Dougie's flat. That was when we moved.
Oh, okay.
So we all bought houses next to each other after that. And Dougie it wasn't even his garden, it was a communal garden that he just filled with a skate ramp. Before that, we had like the band house, which we just completely destroyed. I was 18 and I was the oldest. Dougie was 15. And so I think technically I was like his guardian. I don't even know if he should have been allowed to live with me. Like, it was so weird. He just didn't finish. One day, we just told him he was in the band, then went and picked him up from school, maybe? I don't even know where we got him from. We just found him at the side of the road somewhere. And he moved into the house, moved out of his home and moved in with us. We were just kids. And I remember, when Five Colours in Her Hair came out, our manager came and knocked on the door at like 9 a.m, which we definitely weren't up at 9 a.m. Like, we used to sleep until 1. And so we all kind of stumbled out of bed, and he was like, the midweeks are in. It's #1 in the midweeks with a massive lead. Like, unless something drastic happens, we're going to be #1 this weekend. It was the most surreal. It was just surreal. I can't even describe what that is like. It's literally dreams coming true. It's everything you could have possibly have wanted happening. And the only time that has ever happened again has been Paddington. Because since then, there's stuff you really have to fight for, and it doesn't quite work out, and you kind of get by, and like, Paddington has been the same feeling of like, oh my, oh my God, it's better than I could have ever imagined. And everybody is saying everything you could dream them saying. It's been amazing. So yeah, I guess that's the only times this really happened to me.
It's funny hearing you saying that you were sort of playing the songs and laughing along, because I mean the one thing that I always loved about McFly, you know, I liked Busted, but Busted seemed to want to inhabit a sort of more like Blink-182 space that I never quite like agreed with. Whereas you guys were unashamedly pop, like you wore your pop credentials proudly, which is why for me, like on my iPod was the era, you know, I'd have Stargirl nestled alongside Good Charlotte and Blink-182 and Green Day, and it seemed you flew that banner proudly.
Yeah, I think we've always been really proud of that. I think there was times when we also wanted the acceptance of like, it also takes a bit of musicianship, and we function like a band, like a rock band. And like, I think we desperately craved some sort of like just acceptance from that world a little bit, because we really were on the line of like, well, we play pop music, but we're also a band, and all of our, you know, we loved rock music as well, but feeling like, it took us a long time to feel like we had any sort of acceptance from that world. But I think, you know, as an 18-year-old or a 15-year-old, you also wanted people to be like, oh yeah, I love that bass line, or I love that guitar riff. And no one was saying that about our music until, you know, like 10 years in or something. So it took us a while to get there.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, on that note, I mean, a career as long as you've had with McFly, like you say, 23 years and counting, there are definitely going to be lows as well as highs. Was there a particularly tough time for you and McFly?
Oh, yeah. Well, like I think there's different elements to that. There's tough times professionally where it's been not what you expected it to, you know, an album hasn't done as well as you thought, or the single hasn't, you know, been playlisted at a radio station that you thought it was going to be playlisted at, and that really starts you worrying, especially early on when you've had all the first stuff did so well. It was all number one, breaking the records, the tours are going well. Like, there's only one way you go from there. It can't stay like that forever. You're never going to be the band of the moment forever. But not being prepared for that mentally as an 18-year-old is really tough. And also music changed. The industry changed. It was a huge shift around our early years. We were at the end of that like 90s pop boy band, and not just musically, but the infrastructure around that. Saturday morning to CDUK, SMTV, all of the Smash Hits tour. Busted broke, all those pop bands all broke because there was the infrastructure there to allow us to break. That just vanished overnight. And we were so lucky we just caught the back end of that wave and were able to establish a fan base, because then that wasn't there. So where do you go to perform your songs on TV anymore if you're a young pop band that just wasn't there? Well, where's your songs going to be played if you're not getting played on the radio, how are people going to hear your songs if you're not playing on CDUK? You're not going to be playing at Glastonbury and Download and V Festival yet, or we didn't know that was ever going to happen. We're not the type of band that gets on those festivals. So where are you going to play if you don't have the Smash Hits tour and all of, like, it just went. We were just suddenly like, well, what do we do now? And also those bands just disappeared. Suddenly Busted broke up, Girls Aloud weren't playing anymore. Like, all of the pop bands that we were also with disappeared. We were like, well, we're not in with the rock bands, and now all the pop bands have gone. It's like, we're just us left. What do we do? And then the way that people consumed music changed. We were the first band on Ireland not to release a cassette with our single and album. Not as like a nostalgic, like ironic cassette. Like, people were still buying cassettes to listen to music, and we were the first band not to have that. And then to suddenly be like, well, now people are downloading music, and to download music you need to have, this is pre-streaming, this is when you had to download like individual albums and tracks, and to do that you had to have a credit card. Well, if your fan base is all under 18, how are they going to buy your music? And if Woolworths doesn't exist to buy your single, where are they going to buy it? So we were in this like, you know, rapidly changing musical landscape. That was really tricky.
And how did you navigate that then? I mean, did it help having each other? Because
massively,
if you've got a difficult time happening, but you've got three other guys around you who you can talk to and talk this through with, that's got to help.
Massively. Like, we've always been a very isolated band. Like, there's not many people that we let into our like inner circle of McFly, and we are like brothers. It's a real family, which has its ups and downs. Like, we fight like brothers as well sometimes, but we are there for each other, and we are each other's support network. And luckily, we were able to tour through all of that changing thing. The constant for us was, well, we will go on tour. And we just toured and toured and toured. But yeah, I mean, and eventually things change and you find your way through and you mature a bit as a band and you find something will connect. We've been really lucky on every album. We've had like a song that has broken through and been a hit. I can't even say the word. It's really weird. So yeah, there's definitely been downsides and lows professionally. And then on the flip side of that as well, like any long relationship, like it's been real tough times personally between all of us. Individually, we've all gone through like the highs and lows that everyone goes through in their lives and had to navigate that personally with each other and also in the public eye, I guess, or eventually it becomes public knowledge that one of you is going through something difficult and having to kind of, handle that, which is really, really tough.
But I mean, I saw some footage from the Paddington the Musical premiere, the red carpet, and what was lovely was seeing not just Harry and Dougie in the clip I saw being there, but having the relationship where they're going to interrupt your interview and mess around with you. And it's like it seems like a friendship. It doesn't seem like, I guess, wanting to put a really cynical thing on it. Some bands stay together and it very much becomes a business. It becomes like, well, we make money from touring, we make money from doing this, so let's, stay amicable. It seems like actual friendship.
Oh yeah, I think it's really hard to describe, because I think people are very cynical about those kind of relationships in bands, but like I don't have any other friends. Like they're my only friends. No, I love them. I love them, and we all love each other, and we are always supportive of each other through everything. And yeah, like it's so like having them there at the Paddington. Actually, one of the most emotional moments. Harry and Dougie came to one of the Paddington workshops we did a year ago. So they'd seen the show and they'd met Paddington. They kind of had a bit of an understanding of what the show was going to be. Danny hasn't seen anything until the opening night. So it was his first time of seeing this thing that he knows is really important to me. And at the end, he came up to me downstairs here and just gave me a hug. And we couldn't talk to each other because I could feel his pride in me, and I can't hack, like we're just so emotional with each other, so we just both hugged each other, and I think he went to say I'm really proud of you, and we both just burst out to tears and cried. So yeah, like we love each other. It's like, it's family, it's everything.
Time for a top-up, courtesy of our sponsor Laurent-Perrier. Perhaps we can tempt you with a Chardonnay. In 2019, Laurent-Perrier introduced something truly special, Blanc de Blanc Brut Nature. This is a 100% Chardonnay champagne with no added sugar. Yes, you heard that right. A perfect reflection of Laurent-Perrier's philosophy of precise, thoughtful winemaking. Chardonnay is the dominant grape across all of Laurent-Perrier's wines, and it's what sets the house's style apart. From the light, natural sweetness to the refined, lingering finish, their wines showcase a pure expression of Chardonnay that stands out in the world of champagne. Thanks to their exceptional mastery of this demanding grape variety, Laurent-Perrier can craft 100% Chardonnay champagne without added sugar, using only years when the grapes have reached perfect natural maturity. And Blanc de Blanc Brut Nature is a shining example of this approach. Of course, Laurent-Perrier Heritage continues this tradition of majority Chardonnay in the blend, defining the style of the house. So, here's to another example of Laurent-Perrier's remarkable style and savoir-faire, and to savouring something extraordinary. This is the Savoy Originals, and you've written books, you're an author, you've created music in McFly, you've written the songs for Paddington the Musical, and because it is the Savoy Originals, I do want to ask the question, what do you think it takes, what do you think the key is to originality, like to creating original work?
Wow, I don't know, because I don't ever really consciously think about that when I'm writing, I don't think. I think anyone, I think, or other creatives that I know, you naturally draw upon all of your references that you've grown up with and stuff that you will have no idea that it could ever relate to a Paddington musical or a McFly song. But you'll be like, oh, I saw this nice I don't know, it'll be something completely unrelated to music that you'll bring to the table, and that will inspire what will become a song from Paddington or a McFly song. But being truly original, it's an original blend of your influences that can never be replicated by anyone else. Because for me it will be, well, it's the bands I love and the music I love. It's also all of my experiences and having my parents, do what they did for me as a kid, all of those things. And then whatever the individual project is that you're working on, well, it's the blend of all of those things that creates something original.
It's strange when you try and put your finger on one thing. Sometimes it comes to you. You'll be like, oh, I've done this. And you're like, oh, my God, there's like the tiniest thread of a movie I watched 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even reference that had somehow seeped into my subconscious.
Yeah, and other times it'll be like really direct. There'll be a film that you think, I just want to write. Like we had a song in McFly that's like a really niche song called Don't Wake Me Up that was just all about the movie Vanilla Sky. Amazing film. We just wrote, the song is just all about Vanilla Sky. But no one would ever know that. But we know it. And the other times as well, like, in Paddington, like I grew up loving the Sherman Brothers, who wrote Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I always felt like there's something that I connect with the Sherman Brothers music and what I thought Paddington might sound like. And the song Marmalade for me was just like, well, that's just a love letter to the Sherman Brothers, because and I'm so happy it made it all the way. That was the first song I wrote for Paddington. I'm so happy it made it into the show still. So yeah, there are other things that just feel like you're channeling all of your influences into something else.
And I guess the question really is how much of Paddington's success and the success of the songs comes down to road testing them with your children, because I believe you did test the songs out on your kids.
Yeah, always. I mean, it's amazing having kids to be so brutally honest. Sometimes even in just their non-reaction, just like they're not even listening. But I don't think this song is very good because they're not listening to it at all. So Buzz, especially, like he sang on a lot of the demos for Paddington. So anything where the kids, where Jonathan and Judy were singing, and I needed to figure, is this in the right key for a kid to sing with the adult? Well, I just had, Buzz was there, my eldest. So like, mate, can you just come and learn this song for me and just record it into here so I can send it into to all the team. So yeah, they've like been a massive part of this journey the whole way through.
I mean, as we're sort of nearing the tail end of our chat, but we are coming full circle because we began talking about your dad bringing you on stage as a kid, and recently you brought viewers to tears in the best possible way with a duet on this year's Children in Need appeal show, performing with Buzz for the first time on TV. How was that for you? Were you aware of the cyclical nature of what was happening?
Oh yeah, like definitely. It's so weird. It feels like history kind of repeating itself, and I can see in him how I felt at that age doing it with my dad, being on stage with my dad. But also I had to just not think about any of that because I would just have cried the whole way through singing the song. But no, it's so special. That the whole project, working on the Pudsey film and working with Children in Need, was so special. Weirdly got these two iconic bears in my life at the minute that I've been writing for, like the Battle of the Bears. I love them both equally. But yeah, it was really special. The storyline in the film that I've written for Pudsey, there's a father story element to it that's at the center of it that's really emotional, and it just felt like, well, wouldn't it be really lovely wouldn't it heighten the emotion if it's a father and son that sing the song? So yeah, I guess the stars just kind of aligned for us to sing it together. And it was really special.
Without wanting to be reductive, you kind of are a showbiz family. Yourself and your wife, Giovanna, in the entertainment industry. Your younger sister, as you mentioned, a seasoned musical performer, currently in Elf, the musical on stage, just up the road. And now, like you said, your son Buzz on stage in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Starlight Express. I guess, knowing what you know about, how precarious this industry can be, and as we touched on the highs and lows, was there ever any trepidation, or was there a conversation that needed to be had before you were like, yes, Buzz, I'm totally happy for you to enter this particular world?
Yeah, definitely. And I think so much of it was left up to Buzz. I've always seen his interest in music and can see the talent in him and have helped him, behind the scenes. Just we play all the time. There's always, similar to my house when I was growing up, there's always guitars around, and they were never off limits. It's just lying there. If you want to pick it up and play, you pick it up and play it. And there's a piano there if you want to. And all of my kids have just kind of found their way into that, and they've got a band that they play with each other. It's amazing. But like his drama teacher has always seen like potential in him and asked if he wanted to go up for auditions, and he always said no. And we were always like, well, yeah, it's up to him. We're not going to, get him to do anything he doesn't want to do. And then we went to see Starlight Express. I guess it's really similar to me seeing Joseph. And I could just see it in him. He was just blown away and then obsessed with that show. and so then when the audition came through and they asked him if he wanted to go and audition, I knew he was gonna say yes, absolutely, I want to go audition. And as a parent, you're like, well, that would be an amazing opportunity for you. And you talk him through, all of the potential outcomes of it, but it's up to him. And all we can do is just support him through it. But there's definitely been other things that have come through for him, and he's just been like, I'm not quite, not ready to do that.
And like you, it sounds like he's got good people around him. I mean, because you and I have been in this industry a long time, and for want of a better word, there are some arseholes in this industry. I've encountered them. I'm sure you have. How have you managed to navigate those people and sort of keep the right people around you?
I think we are. We've been really lucky. So we've always had like amazing management that have helped us out and looked after us and given us what we need, rather than what we want, which has been really important. And the reason why we want to be in this industry is maybe not the reason why other people want to be in this industry. We want to do it because it's fun being in a band and being in the studio and all of the bits that is behind closed doors that no one gets to see, that is the vast majority of your life in a band, that isn't glamorous. It's just really fun. That's why we do it. The bit where we get to go out on stage and have the kind of the bit that everyone else sees, that people probably think makes up the majority, is actually a tiny little bit, and that's really fun too. But it's not as fun as all of the rest of it. So that's at the core of it. So we've never been kind of caught up with all of the other stuff surrounding it, where maybe some of that area of the industry where I think a lot of the arseholes operate. We don't kind of operate in that bit. Like we're so bad at socializing and schmoozing and like going to like we just don't do it. We never leave. We never leave our houses. We're so we're just recluses. Like if we have to go to an event to socialize, we're terrible. Danny's the only good one. He's like our front man. Like just send Danny in. He's our representative. He'll be really good in that situation. But the rest of us, like especially me, I'm so socially awkward. Yeah. So like I don't. So I don't really get to kind of experience a lot of the arseholes.
That's fascinating. So to distill that down, it's kind of like what you want from the industry tends to dictate the kind of people you end up having around you. Like if you are there for, let's say, good reasons, to make it simple, you end up being surrounded by good people. Whereas if your motivation for fame, let's call it, isn't healthy, then you might end up surrounded by the worst.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're really lucky because we get to enjoy the bits of fame, which is amazing, but it's also a level that is really manageable with our lives, and we get to keep our privacy and lead relatively normal lives, which isn't normal at all, but it's we have like our privacy and get the comfort of that. But also the bit of it that I love is being on my own. It's why I love being a songwriter and being an author, and it's so isolating, and I just get to be on my own in a quiet room writing. And that is amazing. And when you find like-minded people, like when you find an amazing editor and book editor and you get to be on that journey with each other, or an amazing producer with the band, that's an amazing creative relationship, or an amazing director and writer and producers on the show, like that's amazing. And it's the end result, as amazing as it is and as special as Paddington is, my job on it is done now. Like, and it's really sad because that's what I've had 5 amazing years writing this show. I can't do that anymore. The show's finished. Like, what do I do with my life? I had this weird thing the other day where I'm like, what do I think? Like, I had an idea for the show, and I'm like, it's too late. I can't do it.
So we're almost done. Last thing to do, 3 very quick fire questions. Advice for others wanting to carve out a similar career as yourself that you would give them, and I guess potentially even give Buzz, should he wish to carry on following in your footsteps. First one, we have made our way through a tiny portion of your achievements today, but what is it in your career that you are most proud of?
Oh, wow. I guess just still being here, like still doing it, sticking around this long, that stuff still happens. Like, I'm proud that I'm still here and still in the game.
Tell me the most valuable lesson you've ever learnt over your career, the one that changed your way of doing things.
Yeah, I've got one bit of advice that was given to us, and I still don't really know what it means. So this sounds like a really bad name drop, sorry. But so we were with Tom DeLonge once, really early in our career, and like Blink-182 were like our idols, so it was massive. And he said to us, be the band you want to be, not the band you think you are. And I remember thinking, wow, that's incredible advice. And I think I kind of understand that. I think, but be the band you want to be. I think that's a bit of it that I took away. I was like, yeah, like, be the person you want to be. Like, don't let anyone else, like, affect that. And I think I've maybe applied the bit of that I understood to my life.
Finally then, what is the one piece of advice you'd give to someone else wanting to follow in your footsteps?
Oh, just stick at it. You've just got to persevere and be really stubborn and be nice to people. Be kind.
I love it. Tom, that is us done. It's been an absolute pleasure catching
been so
up.
Fun.
After at least a decade.
It's been a little while.
A little while.
Don't leave it so long next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations though,
Thank you,
on
mate.
Paddington the Musical and everything. And it's good to be able to still hear and sit and chat to you like this. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Been a pleasure.
Cheers. And that is it. A huge thank you to our producer, Matt Hill at Rethink Audio, to our sponsor, Laurent-Perrier, and of course to Tom Fletcher for coming in today. Join me again next week when I'll be opening the Savoy's Little Black Book to welcome another celebrated guest and ask them what it takes to be original. Until then, follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye-bye for now.